A very good afternoon to all of you. This is Dr. Ruchi Shirudkar, and I'm a founder of an organization called as Periodical. Okay, so today I'm going to discuss a very important topic which students or doctors keep asking me about is how do we study a drug? Is there any specific book from where we can study all the symptoms? Do we need to study therapeutics or do we need to study mind? Are we going to study from the repertory? How will we use it in our day-to-day practice? So this is the question that, a lot of people, a lot of doctors and students have been asking me. So today I have studied a drug which I have not used particularly so often in my clinical practice. So I thought of, sharing with you how I studied the drug. I made my notes. And so as a student, today I'm in front of you that how do I study, and probably that will help you also to study any drug. Okay, so today the drug that I'm going to talk about is Asterias rubens. Asterias rubens is a starfish, right? So it's an animal remedy, it's a fish remedy. It's very close to Helonius, Murex, Sepia, right? So what made me study this drug is a very senior doctor, Dr. Mahadik, had presented a case in Pediatric group. We have a group in Telegram, and there he prescribed Asterias, where a lot of people, even I was thinking of Ignitia. So when such things are presented by some senior doctor or anybody for that matter, you have to introspect why I was not able to reach to the right remedy, or if it is a new remedy, how I can study this remedy and use it in our day-to-day practice. So when I studied Asterias, I'll go step by step how I studied, and I expect that you all also study all the drugs of our homeopathic practice in the same way. So what I do first is I take that medicine from whatever case that I have learned. I'll write down those entry points of that case. Second, I will go to the repertory and see all the single medicine rubrics of Asterias, of any drug. Today we are talking of Asterias, so I'm telling about Asterias. So I'll write down all the single medicine rubrics which is classically of that remedy. Okay. Second, I would like to group them together. If 2 or 3 symptoms are coming together, I would group them. Okay, this is the same feeling which all these symptoms are close by, right? And then I would go to, see it on Google, read about other books like Allen's Keynote, Clark, Kent. I would read all the books that I have, and I would try to read this remedy in detail and see the mind and see if some senior or junior has presented a successful case of Asteria. So after all this study, here I am, what I have learned of Asterias, I'm going to share with you. So first of all, I'll share a case of mine where I used Asterias. That male had a typical feeling that, he used to not feel good about himself, and he always complained, mere mein se bahut gandi si badbu aati hai. I'm not able to have a good physical relationship with my wife. I feel bad about myself. I feel dirty about myself. So there is a rubric in Asterias, delusion dirty he is, and he has a bad odor. Okay, so on the basis of that rubric, I had given him Asterias rubens, 200 single dose, and he responded beautifully. First entry, I always tell you about the entry points to any drug. So the first is the bad odor, where the person feels dirty about himself and he feels I don't smell good, and no amount of perfume or anything can't, take out that feeling from him. Second entry of this drug is from the case that I learned today, Asterias. I'll share that case. If a lady is doing a lot for the family, for the children, for everybody, she's earning and the husband is not earning, so she's taking all the responsibility. So all these rubrics, duty, too much sense of duty, responsibility, taking too seriously, sensitive to moral impressions, okay, I should earn, I should do this. But when all of this, when you is associated with disgust for sex, the lady doesn't want to get into any kind of physical relationship, When these two states are combined together, you can think of asterias, because disgust from sex, only two remedies are there. One is asterias, and second is Asarum europaeum. Okay, so disgust of sex associated with good responsibility, good sense of duty, sensitive to moral impressions, industrious. Think about Asterias rubens. Okay, so 2 entry points. The third entry point also I learned from one of the junior, and where she discussed a case where there was a lady who has a daughter and a son. So she was giving the daughter only the leftover, suppose there are one apple, so he would give the major chunks to the boy and only the remains to the girl. And if asked, why do you behave so, कि सब अच्छी चॉकलेट लड़के को देते हो और सब बचा कुछ अब बेटी को देते हो, then why do you do so? And she said कि नहीं, ऐसा ही होता आया है, my parents also did the same. हमें, मेरे भाई को ही सब अच्छे कपड़े मिलते थे, हमें जो बच जाता था उसमें से मिलता था. So these two cases are not mine, but I have learned from them, right? So there is a rubric, delusion, suffering, women through ages conscious of. So delusion, that women had suffered through ages, right? And she's conscious of it. So this can be one more entry point where a lady says कि हमेशा ही औरतों के साथ ऐसा ही होता है. We have been tortured, हमें घर में काम करना दिया जाता है. So any lady who is talking like this, you can think of asterias. For example, कि ऐसा ही होता आ रहा है, my father-in-law is not allowing me to work. So what do you feel? क्या ऐसा ही है, मेरी mother-in-law was also a teacher, उनको भी नहीं काम करने दिया था. हमेशा से women have only adjusted and adapted, have been, उनके साथ abuse किया जाता है और ऐसे ही होता है. शुरू से ऐसा ही हमारे, it's a part of the society. So if a lady is talking about, that women has to suffer and she's conscious about it, you can think of asterias. Okay. So 3 entry points we have learned. Bad odor, disgust of sex, and conscious that the women has to suffer through ages. Okay. We come to the 4th entry point. There is a rubric, estranged during climacteric period. Mania, madness, climacteric period in. So, climacteric period is a menopausal age when you are going through that menopausal thing. And during that time, you feel estranged and you get into those mania, then you can think of Asterias rubens. There is one more important drug of climacteric period. Anybody knows? I have used it in many, many cases. Probably next time I'll take that drug. It is, there's so many people live, anybody who can tell? A very good, important medicine for climacteric period. The main rubric in that is fear, insanity, climacteric period in. Simicifuga. I have used in so many people, ladies who are going through menopausal phase and they say, यार मुझे लगता है ना मैं पागल हो जाऊंगी, मुझे लगता है कि मैं वेड़ी होना रहता, periods भी नहीं हो रहे हैं, मुझे irritation हो रही है ये. So fear, insanity, climacteric period in. पेशेंट ये 2 बातें साथ में नहीं बोलता है. आपको ये एज अ फिजिशियन समझना होता है कि ओके, शी हैज फियर, इंसैनिटी एंड शी इज इन दैट फेज, सो शी कैन बी सिमिसिफुगा. ओके, सो this 1 + 1 = 2 you have to do as a physician, right? And so estranged during climacteric period and mania, madness, climacteric period in. You can think of Asterias rubens. One more thing that I want to point it out is that though we are studying mind, we don't have anything against physicals, right? So anything which is peculiar, characteristic, anything that helps us to understand patient better, to cure the patient, we should all be always ready to learn. Okay, so Acne in young children, Asterias is a very important drug. Acne in young children, they have even defined the type of acne, that they have a red base and a black point. Yeah, just keep it in mind. You may not use it as specific, but just keep it in mind. Study everything. That is what is the point I am trying to make. And we all know the use of Asterias. Fear of cancer of mammae, single medicine. I had a case where this lady, uski mother ko cancer tha, and she has those fibroadenomas in breast, and she had got her tested so many times, and still that fear of mammae cancer was there in her. She used to come and tell me, डॉक्टर साहब मेरे को ना डर लगता है, मुझे सीए ब्रेस्ट हो जाएगा, मेरे मन में ये जा नहीं रहा है, सीए ब्रेस्ट तो नहीं, कहीं मुझे सीए तो नहीं. So you think of Asterias rubens as a medicine, fear cancer of mammae. जबकि उसको पता है, उसको समझाया है, फिर भी वो ये सोच रही है कि कहीं ये कैंसर तो नहीं. The fear cancer of mammae, Asterias rubens is the only medicine. Then it is a useful drug for cancer of breast, where there is ulceration, the axillary lymphatic glands are enlarged. There is a typical sensation where it is it has drawn inwards. That kind of sensation a patient complains. So it's a very useful drug for cancer of mammae with lymphatic enlargement. Okay, it's also a very good drug for chorea. So what they're saying, it's a drug convulsions, epilepsy. So there are, see, how will you treat a child or an adult with convulsions? You see the prodrome कि पहले क्या होता है, during convulsion क्या होता है, कुछ stress है क्या. So there is one thing which is very, very characteristic in Asterias ki before an attack of epilepsy, they'll have small twitchings here and there for 2-3 days, like ये हिल रहा है, पता चल जाता है कि इसको होने वाला है convulsions का attack, या उनके हाथ हिल रहे हैं तो they cannot, they are involuntary movements, so they cannot control. So what they do is keep hands in the pocket. Chorea only controlled by keeping hands in the pocket, It has even the gait becomes unsteady, It's confusion of mind, muscles refuse to obey the will. They are trying to control, but they are not able to control. Asterias is in this rubric also, right? They also feel that they are not at home. They are surrounded by strangers. They always have that fear कि कोई bad news ना आ जाए, कोई गलत खबर ना आ जाए. And they are under control of strangers. अभी आप ये practical example कब ले सकते हैं? For example, a lady married. So normally a lady would adapt to her in-laws house, but a lady says, कि अभी मेरी तो यहाँ शादी हुई है. I am तो basically from Delhi. It's a different culture. Suppose she's got intercaste marriage. I'm giving an example. And मैं तो यहाँ पे किसी को जानती नहीं हूँ, ना ही मेरी किसी से जान पहचान है. जो लोग मैं जो करती हूँ, उठती हूँ, बैठती हूँ, सब वो लोग ही डिसाइड करते हैं कि ये आज साड़ी पहनो, आज सूट पहनो. सो ऐसा ही होता आया है, So you get the feeling कि she is surrounded by strangers and she is controlled by strangers, right? And she's not at her home. ये मेरा घर नहीं है. Normally, a lady would adapt to her in-laws' house. She calls that house her home. But there can be a case where the lady doesn't feel, right? She feels that this is not my home. I am surrounded by strangers. I am controlled by them, right? So, yeah, these are this is an animal remedy. So they get very hyper, excitable. They want to fight. And one thing they cannot tolerate is contradiction. So they do not like contradiction. Even there's a symptom, convulsions, epilepsy, contradiction from, they get very, very excited. They want to fight. They want to argue. They get quarrelsome. So they get, one thing that really can make them excited and angry is contradiction. Yeah, so these are small entry points of Asterias rubens, which I have studied today. And if you ask me honestly, there is no specific book to study. So the ideal way to study is read all the books, read all the rubrics, combine few rubrics which can be clubbed together and take you to one feel of the remedy. Third, see anybody has given, if you have prescribed, good. And if you have not, please ask, if anybody around you or the group you are attached to, anybody has prescribed Asterias rubens, whatever drug you want to study successfully. Then, compile that data as I have done today and try to understand the basic feel of the remedy. You can Google, you can read some books, you can see YouTube channels. So many people, doctors, are doing their best to explain you, the remedy. Some may explain mind, some may explain therapeutics, but you as a learner, I feel we are always a learner, should study everything. So if you ask me what I learned about Asterias rubens, I may have prescribed in 2 cases, but someone who's, whom I know must have prescribed in 1 more and someone else. So then you have that collective data. There is no one book which gives you that. You have to make your own notes. You have to study hard. That is the only way to succeed. That is the only way to succeed. Study hard, make your own notes, learn from everybody, keep your mind open, be nice to others, even if someone, is not nice to you, but you do your hard work, because it's your hard work that will take you in a long way. That is the only way I know of, that we can get success. There is no other way. In spite of 18 years of practice and having a good OPD, when I come to know about any one remedy which I don't know completely, I always take out my register and keep writing and seeing, okay, maybe that case I failed, I would have thought of Asterias. Maybe this case I should think, or at least it remains in your mind, right? So the whole exercise impromptu that I did today was to, answer that question, that how do you study, right? So hopefully you learn Asterias, and hopefully you learn and study many more drugs that you want to study. This makes your life easy, and believe me, it doesn't take long. Just an hour or 2 and a little bit of hard work and perseverance will take you a long way. So this brings to an end, and I would again say that study hard, because that is the only way of success in your clinical practice. Hard work, hard work, hard work. And as I last said, कि कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती है. So keep taking efforts, keep doing efforts, do good, keep honesty in your heart, and learn from everyone. Yeah. So thank you everyone. This was very quick and impromptu. I hope it will help you to study. And we are taking sessions on rubrics, so those who want to join can always contact me. This is a small, exercise that we are doing. We are studying rubrics from A to Z. We have done the 4th rubric session. We have done half of alphabet B, and the 5th rubric session will be 27th of November. So those who want to join, please do join and study hard and have a very successful clinical practice. Thank you.